coming back. Anyway, since I have come back, I have decided to go back down the rabbit hole. I've mentioned this before, of beginner new bike videos and some of the just very poor and just bad advice that is given online. And one of those is going to be emergency braking videos. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of really bad emergency braking videos. Let me just put this back on my helmet for a minute and I'll go sit here. So emergency braking videos that I'm seeing online are really bad. Okay, something that online suffers from the advice / the new guy perspective, and this is in every single hobby that I'm aware of, is you have people that are, they hear something and they don't quite understand it, or whether it's intentional or not, I don't think it typically is, but then they go and they parrot it off for the next guy. Okay, so this is where parroting, you hear this all the time. I'm big on it annoying me. So you have people that are going and telling other new guys some information that they didn't fully understand, and then they're trying to relay it to you, and this guy doesn't really understand what he's saying. You don't understand, you don't know any better, so you can't pick out that he doesn't really know what he's saying. And you end up with just bullshit advice that doesn't make any sense for people. So one of the things that has bothered me tremendously since coming across some of these is emergency braking videos. The amount of good emergency braking videos from the other smaller, so like the TikTok videos, the YouTube shorts, they're really bad. I mean, they're exceptionally bad. Emergency braking isn't 70-30 braking in that you use 70% of your front brake and 30% of your rear brake. What the fuck does that even mean, right? Have you ever sat there, you've seen that, and whether you own a bike or not, and thought, well, how the fuck do I know if I'm at 70% versus 60% versus 80%? You fucking don't, because it's an emergency stop. Okay, 70-30 has to do with the physics of which tire and how much grip and force holding the bike from moving forward back, right? It's the physics. It's not the actual brake pressure that you're putting on the bike. Okay, it's not 70% and 30%, because what the fuck does that even mean? No one knows. Absolutely no one knows, but they're going around and telling you that I'm using 70% of my front and I'm using 30% of my rear. Emergency braking is stopping as quick and as aggressively and as safely as you possibly can, okay? Emergency braking is not some nice calculated wonderful formula. Emergency braking means, oh fuck, that bus just pulled in front of me, that car just pulled in front of me, that deer just jumped in front of me. I have to stop now or I'm dead, okay? Emergency braking is not some happy-go-lucky, easy-going, trail onto the brakes and just ease into it type of deal. This is where ABS is a lifesaver, statistically and in my experience. Emergency braking is not something that you can practice for in the essence that you are going to be the world's best. This is something that you can practice all day long. If you have a panic response, you have a panic response. If you don't, you don't, okay? I think you need to be very self-aware of that aspect before you go and decide that you're never going to buy an ABS bike, because that's for people who suck. ABS, panic braking, emergency braking, wonderful combination. ABS prevents the wheels from locking up, for those that don't know. Wheels locking up is where you see the video of some guy who's going through traffic. He looks to the left and all of a sudden the car in front of him slams the brakes and he says, uh-oh, grabs the front real quick and his whole bike flips forward. ABS prevents that. Now, back to the whole 70-30 deal in emergency braking. What I'm seeing with these guys who are telling you how to emergency brake is they're saying this 70-30 and they're telling you how to do 70-30, which you're off to a bad start. And then they get into a parking lot and they're going 20 miles per hour. And these are the most leisurely, comfortable stops you've ever seen in your entire life. I mean, their definition of emergency is very different than mine. Okay. An emergency is not a well-calculated, I'm going to stop at 25 feet. An emergency is fuck. Okay. That's what should happen if you are in an emergency situation, you are not going to sit there and calculate exactly what needs to be done right here, right now. It is going to be fuck. That's all that's going to run through your head. That's all you're going to have time to think about. Fuck. Okay? Your eyes are going to get real big and you're going to say fuck out loud. Okay. Now, on to this. Where are we going to practice emergency braking? You are not going to start with, holy Christ, I saw this. You are not going to start practicing your emergency braking, whether you have ABS or not, by going and slamming on your rear brake. That is not what you're going to do. Your front brake is the strongest brake. It is the one where the weight shifts forward. It is also the one where, ABS or not, it is going to determine how much weight is on that front tire, is going to determine how your rear tire reacts. So if I find the traction brake point on my rear, if I find where that rear locks up without ABS, and then I say, okay, I go do that 10 times, and I'm like, yep, right here, I got that down. And then I go throw in the front brake as well, I'm going to fishtail like shit, because I'm going to use that exact same brake pressure, but now because the weight is shifting more forward, because I've introduced the front brake, my rear is going to be locked up way quicker. Okay? It is completely backwards to how you should be practicing this if you don't have ABS. If you have ABS, you should still practice with the front first, because this is going to be your brake. Okay? Point blank simple. Don't start off doing this with your rear. Your rear is directly affected by how your front braking is going. How much pressure is on those forks, on that tire, on those pads. Okay? Simple as that. Don't think too much harder. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to get the camera set up, and what you're going to see, I'm just going to come around here, I'm going to go whoop, and then I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to be at about 30, 35 miles per hour, and I'm just going to hammer the piss out of my front brake. I have ABS on this bike, and what I'm going to try to do, I'll do the first run, ABS is going to kick in, so you might see the bike go duh-duh-duh. Don't know if it'll show on camera. The second, this one doesn't have the ABS on this bike isn't great. I don't like how it feels, but it's also not the most aggressive, so I don't think it will really show, but we'll see. And then I'll do it again, and I'll try to stop without ABS. I'll try and stop as hard as I can, same speed, without the ABS kicking on. This one's a little jump happy on the ABS. Don't know if I'm going to be able to manage it. We'll see. But just so you can see from the back perspective of what an emergency brake looks like in a parking lot versus what some of the videos you may have seen emergency braking in a parking lot look like. So I'll run it like that, and then I'll keep talking, and we'll just keep going about our day. So, let me get this set up real quick. Remember, I've had this wireless mic. I've never actually filmed myself on my bike from this perspective, so this is a new world for me. So, we'll get going here. And remember, this is front brake only and ABS. It's just the second my front tire crosses where my camera is, I will be stopping the brake, right? 30 to 35. All right, here we go. We're at 30. Okay, how comfortable did that look? Did that look like just the most relaxing, easy brake you've ever seen in your life? Did I look like I had fun there? I can tell you I didn't, right? Let me get going. I don't actually know what the distance for this microphone is, so we'll see if this actually works as well. But I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to try and do it without ABS kicking on. So this is front brake only, no rear. Just as a visual, just so you can get an idea of if you're really emergency braking or not. That's where I want to start with this. Okay, so we're going to get up to 30. And we're going to brake. So that was no ABS. So probably looked a little smoother. You know, actually, I'm pretty sure that did stop my distance pretty decently there comparatively. So the ABS on this R1 is very quick to kick on. It's very, very quick to kick on. All right, now we're going to do it with the rear brake. So we're going to do front and rear, and we're just going to smash it. I mean, we're going to stop as hard and aggressively as I can at 30-ish miles per hour. All right. I'll try and call out my speed right as I'm going by the post again. Alright, so we are at 31. Alright, that's ABS both kicking on both of those. So 31 miles per hour, my wheels doing this. Not comfortable. Didn't enjoy that. All right, this time we're gonna try and do it without ABS kicking on. We'll shoot for a 31 miles per hour again. Now I will give the ABS credit on the rear. It is not quick to kick on the rear on this bike. So we'll see though. All right, so we are at 31. And I caught it on the rear, not on the front though. So, hey, but, right, that's that. And I'll also, let me show you, I think this would be worth seeing as well. I'm gonna run it just towards the actual pillar, right? So this isn't gonna be super fast, but just watch my front forks. Can you see how much those are diving? Can you see how much my whole bike is diving? I've got a little cross reference too for funsies. I'm gonna have fun being able to actually record myself on the bike. So I'm not gonna be going very fast here because my distance is basically nothing, but see if you can see how much my forks are dipping, right? You see that? Like, are you seeing how much the bike dips? Let me run it the other way and get a little more speed. All right, same thing. So this is gonna be at 20 and stop, right? Oh, you see how much those forks are going, okay? This is emergency braking. This is not fun. I don't enjoy this. I actually hate doing this because it feels so uncomfortable, so aggressive. And this is only at 30 miles per hour. So what I want to get to here is, how do you actually practice emergency braking? Because these guys are telling you to go to a nice parking lot and kick down gears and really just have a nice relaxing evening hitting your brakes and gingerly coming to a nice little stop. No, you need to be stopping hard and aggressively, and you need to be scared. Honestly, if you are not uncomfortable, you're not braking hard enough. If you are not worried about how your bike is responding, how much your suspension is diving, you're not braking hard enough. Actually, I wonder if I can get a better perspective. Hold on, let me put this on the ground. I'll run it up towards it one more time. Just 'cause I think this might look interesting if I can get it to work. And obviously I'm having just as much fun with the realization I have a wireless mic as much as anything. I have to work. All right, I'm just gonna run the bike towards it and slam on the brakes, just so you can hopefully see the suspension. All right. I highly doubt you'd see the tire flatten at all at this speed, so that is something that's really cool though. If you want to go look up like the MotoGP riders, how much their tire, like you can physically see the tire change. All right, so we're just gonna come up, right, and stop. You see that front? Let me get a little closer. Gotta be careful I don't overshoot my speed and stop into the post here. That would be exceptionally unfortunate. All right, so same deal. We're gonna come up, right, and stop. Do you see that front? Just boom. How aggressive that is. One more time. Just because I hope this is showing well, and it's also, I like the fact that I can record from this perspective now. I'm having fun. So, all right, same deal, right? We're gonna roll it, and it's not a comfortable feeling, right? I mean, there's nothing comfortable about that. So, how do you practice emergency braking? That's enough for the demonstrations and me playing with the camera for a minute. How do you actually practice this? You practice this by, whether you have ABS or not, whether you have ABS or not, you're going to practice this by going on your bike in a parking lot first. All right, you are going to start in a parking lot. You are not going to go out on the street and try this, especially if you don't have ABS. But what you're going to do is you're going to do exactly what I just did. You're going to try from, say, in my opinion, you do need enough room to be able to go at least 25 to 30. Anything below that, you are not going to get the full experience and how it feels. So you need to be going somewhere that it's fast enough that this is applicable. Just the physics, the feeling of your whole body being kind of punched forward, so to speak. And what you're going to do, ABS or not, is you're going to continue to try, you're going to set a marker, and you're going to try to get that stopping point shorter and shorter and shorter. So from 30, pull in the clutch and stop. From 20, or excuse me, from 30, pull in the clutch and stop. Pull in the clutch and stop. Pull in the clutch and stop. If someone is telling you that you need to leave the clutch out so that you can stop in a shorter distance, let me explain why that makes no sense. Your rear brake and your engine braking are the same thing. Okay? If you are leaving the clutch out and 90% the weight is shifting to 70% forward, right? If my rear tire is super easy to lock up with just the rear brake, the engine braking is doing absolutely nothing. Engine braking is the exact same as rear braking. It is slowing down the bike through the rear tire. Okay? If you can lock up the rear, your engine braking is doing nothing. Okay? Know that. Don't get caught up in trying to go practice your engine braking practice your emergency braking by kicking down gears all at the same time and doing all of this. Emergency means, holy fuck, I need to stop, right? It means I have to stop. I have to slow down. It does not mean gingerly kicking down the gears and getting into this nice, comfortable, my suspension barely moves stop. It means that you need to be comfortable with feeling this, oh fuck. You need to be comfortable with feeling that suspension kick back. You need to be comfortable with all of the feelings that your bike is going to go through when you have an oh fuck moment. That's where parking lot practice and true emergency brake practice comes in. So you're going to start with the front. You're going to go and you're just going to keep going. If you're using non-ABS and you feel that rear start to lift at all, if you notice anything that does not feel right, don't go any harder. This is something that you have to be very careful with without ABS. It is so easy, especially if you're on a parking lot like around here, it doesn't look that bad. There's sand everywhere here. You could lock a front so easy out here. So you have to be careful. If at any point in your braking, while you're trying to shrink your distance, so to speak, you start to feel a little squirrely, don't push yourself. Don't hurt yourself. This is for practice. This is to make it where you're comfortable when this scenario actually comes up. Don't push it to where you feel squirrely. Push it to where you feel like you have gotten to the safest, most comfortable stopping point that you can continuously get to distance-wise from whatever your marker is. Now you're going to throw in your rear brake, okay? Same thing. You're going to be with no ABS, you're going to be very, very generous on the rear brake. You can lock up that rear very easy. Shockingly easy. What'll happen if you shall lock up that rear is it's going to either fishtail, and it's all going to depend on, you'd be amazed at how little, you could think you're going straight and that rear will fishtail real quick. You're either going to feel the back of the bike or what feels like your hips going this way. Okay, so you're going to feel your body go, you're going to say, what? Or what's going to happen is you'll feel somewhat of a stutter. You'll hear screeching of the rear. That means you've locked up that rear. You've gone too far, slow it down, backtrack it. If you have ABS on your bike, you're going to be doing the same thing, right? First off, and I'm a big believer, you need to know what ABS feels like. So hammer it. Go see what the ABS feels like on your bike so you can identify when the ABS is kicked on. Now, go run the drill and try to do it without ABS kicking on. And do the same thing where you're trying to stop shorter and shorter and shorter without the ABS kicking on, right? In my little demonstration here at 30 miles per hour, I could stop a little bit quicker. It looks like probably 4 or 5 feet from 30 miles per hour without the ABS kicking on, and that wasn't a perfect stop. That was just, coincidence almost, really. Practice it, get a feel for when ABS kicks on, and then try to avoid the ABS kicking on. You will have a built-in training tool to learn threshold braking. That's what's so cool about ABS as well, is you have a built-in game on your bike for the parking lot to go get better at braking. It's great. It's wonderful. I love ABS. Everyone should have it. I'll die on that hill. Now, we've got that. We've got our practice. We've got our parking lot practice. I got to change the camera angle on my bike, but I'm going to show you now how do we practice emergency braking in real life. Because our parking lot, we can only get to between, let's say, 30 to 40 miles per hour. So give me a sec. GoPro, stop recording. All right, we're back to the big old wide super view angle. Now, how do we practice emergency braking? My kickstand's down. How do we practice emergency braking out in the real world, right? How do we do that? You're gonna get on the street. And this is something, if you've been around a bunch of old riders, they will all tell you this when you're new. I've never met one who didn't. This is an old school training philosophy, I believe, but I don't think there's anything better. You're gonna find an empty road, and what you're going to do is you're gonna stop like hell. Okay? Again, ABS, non-ABS, be very careful. Try to not let your ABS kick on. If you have ABS, I believe the left is gonna be my best bet here. Make sure there's no cars coming. There's a truck. Get out of his way. Okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get up to speed. You're gonna make sure there's no cars around you, and you're gonna stop as quick and hard as possible. This is going to be uncomfortable as hell. This is going to be scary as hell. You're not going to feel good doing this. You're not going to feel safe doing this. The scoot didn't wave. This is how you're going to practice. Okay? I believe up here on this right, I can make a right up here, and this should be usually a pretty dead road, especially this early in the morning. I'm going to get up to 50, 60, and I'm just going to stop. And I'm going to stop like my life depends on it. I'm not going to have some gingerly, easygoing, happy-go-lucky, kick down the gears, stop. I'm going to stop, and I'm not going to feel good doing it. But you have to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable, okay? I'm sure that might be something you've heard before, but I mean, that's reality. You have to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable. All right, looks like this road is empty, so this is going to be money. All right, 30-mile-per-hour speed limit, so we will not go over 30 miles per hour. And then you're going to get to 60 and you're going to stop. You're going to stop like hell. My bike is dancing. My rear is dancing. That is so uncomfortable. It's unbelievable. Right? My bike is dancing. I can feel my rear tire bouncing like this, even with the ABS. Okay? Don't stop that hard when you first start going. You start feeling your tires dance, you've gone too far. But, all right, same deal. We'll go up to 50 and I'm just going to stop. All right? This sucks. This sucks so bad. That's emergency braking. That's how you're going to practice. You're not going to... What's this guy doing? You are not going to go and have this nice... Let me give you an example of... Make sure there's no cars behind me still. Let me give you an example of some of the emergency braking that I've seen online over and over again. So what they're going to tell you to do is they're going to say, all right, we're going to get up to 50 miles per hour. And then we're going to come to a nice stop. And easy. Okay? No. Bad. Bad, bad, bad. Emergency braking shouldn't feel that comfortable. I shouldn't have that much fun coming to a stop, right? So if I'm getting up to 50 and I'm stopping this shit, that's emergency braking. I want to smell my brakes. Right? This is to save your life. This isn't a practice drill in the sense that you are, let's say, in the sense of turning, right? This is a life-saving, I mean, you have to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable. You have to. If you don't, you are never going to be able to pull this off in the scenario that it matters. I rarely, very rarely, have to do true emergency braking. It is exceptionally rare. However, I can tell you right now, I have never regretted practicing it. I have never regretted having the confidence that I can just slam my brakes, okay? That tail dancing right there is going to scare the piss out of you, right? On this bike, this is one of the worst ones as far as the 1000s go that I've played with. If I go test ride someone's bike, I don't, just slam on their brakes just to see. But as far as the ones I've spent a good chunk of time on, that tail dancing on this one is pretty bad. It's bad. You have to be comfortable knowing that what's going on back there. You have to be comfortable knowing how your bike is reacting, knowing that if I just stay straight, I'm going to stay straight. Just let it happen. get comfortable. Don't fall for the online emergency braking. That is just, it's such bad advice. I don't know what percentage my brakes are. I'm not going and trying to hit 70% and 30%. I'm trying to stop as hard and fast as humanly fucking possible. That's emergency braking. Okay? That's it. I hope this helps you. I hope that I want you to be safe. I don't like seeing people giving advice that I just know for certain some poor kid is going to take to heart and fucking hurt himself with. Go practice emergency braking. Practice braking as hard as you can get, as uncomfortable as you can get safely. You have to do that. You have to be able to push yourself to that point, or else when the scenario comes up, you are not going to be able to stop. You're going to be scared. You're not going to like the way the bike feels. You're not going to feel comfortable squeezing. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention. You're squeezing the piss out of your tank with your legs. Okay? You are not trying to rely on hanging on, right? You might have noticed in like the parking lot, my ass actually, because it's pushing me forward so much, my ass comes off of my seat, but I'm still squeezing onto the tank like hell. Okay? You have to be comfortable. You need to get familiar with that feeling very quick if you want to be safe and just truly open your toolbox, so to speak, for street riding. So be safe. Be safe practicing this. This is not comfortable. This is not going to feel fun. You're not going to enjoy this, but it's worth it, and it very well may save your life. Thank you.